You know, but now we're flying in a spaceship. Somehow we seem to keep the fire blazing. I guess I never had a goddamn even half a clue. 'Cause my heart's been racing. Like how can I stop you too? Like a countdown, be there in a second. You'll be knocking at my door. Hello, I know you, you know me. We got trust, we still got healing to do. Follow me, you gon' see. You said to me, that's why I love your stilo. I love you, cause you love me. You don't deprive me of my needs, don't ever. I got you, you got me. We got us, we got me forever. Mm. So the channel message for today is it can be lonely at the time. Would you rather cry in a Rolls Royce or cry in a Kia? And so I looked up the spiritual significance of a Rolls Royce, and it centers on its iconic hood ornament, the spirit of ecstasy, symbolizing a soul, passion, and freedom from the mundane through ultimate luxury, while also representing ambition, engineering mastery, and the pursuit of excellence, often linked to the spiritual ideals of grace, abundance, and living life fully. Who the fuck would have thought? Definitely not me. Okay. Um, So the personification of the car, the spirit of ecstasy as a soul. The founders believed cars needed a soul embodied by this spirit, representing the passion of creators and owners. Wow. So the figure inspired by Eleanor Thornton leans into the wind, symbolizing freedom, ambition, and transcending limitations. A guiding light for the fearless. Damn. Damn, damn, damn.
so I looked up the spiritual significance of a Kia. And so it's actually not bad. Of course, like the makers of Kia vehicles aren't going to come up with some like bum idea. But I feel like the comparison that Spirit made, because I was specifically hearing a Kia. So I feel like the Kia, like everyone has to start somewhere. So if you start in a Kia, you move toward the luxury vehicle, the Rolls Royce. So it says the Kia brand slogan adopted in 2021, which is interesting because that was recent. And Kia's been around for a minute. The slogan is movement that inspires. Damn. The company's philosophy links physical movement to human progress and inspiration, suggesting a personal or philosophical significance. Human progress. Kia believes that movement is essential to human evolution. Hot damn. Allowing people to experience new places and perspectives, which in turn inspires ideas. I just like the spirit realm be blowing my mind. And so, inspired ideas and your creativity or your pentacles are the seeds that you sow along your journey. And even if you start in a Kia, you're still making forward progress, moving forward toward the Rolls Royce, which is ultimate luxury. When I lived in LA, I watched a Rolls Royce be delivered to someone's residence in Beverly Hills. When I tell you that vehicle is delivered in a wooden box, literally. So the box, like, it's like, one of those, I don't know if you've ever seen like the covered transportation vehicles that are much lower to the ground so that the vehicles can go in and out easier, but it looks kind of like an 18-wheeler, but it has like a cover on it to protect the vehicles versus like the open 2-level car transport vehicles. It was literally a box, and the back folded down, and then they rolled the vehicle out. It was a Rolls Royce SUV, and I was like, I even had to post a damn video about it because I was like, y'all out here trying to unbox sneakers and shit. I'm not hating on the sneakerhead community, but I'm trying to unbox a Rolls Royce. Try that for unboxing. Now, I love me a luxury bag and all that. Y'all can unbox the bags while I'm unboxing my custom Rolls Royce. Because if you've ever watched a show that talks about how Rolls Royce are made, each one is custom to the owner. So if you get a used, I could be wrong about this, but I believe that what they were saying is if you purchased a previously owned Rolls Royce, it was customized to the previous owner. So every brand new Rolls Royce is specifically built and customized to the person purchasing. So if you want to go to a Rolls Royce dealer and be like, I want that one, it's probably going to be a pre-owned and it's going to be customized to someone else. But if you are buying a brand new Rolls Royce, you can pick every single customization and specification. Ain't nothing like it. Now, I don't know. I'm not a car enthusiast or anything like that. There may be something even more luxurious than a Rolls Royce. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is I want one customized to me. Thank you. And Spirit was also bringing my attention to an MPV, which was popular when I was in high school. The Mazda MPV. So it's considered so MPV stands for a multi-purpose vehicle, primarily symbolizes family, community responsibility, and a shared journey or ministry. Stop. And that's what I have been talking about for the last couple of lives. I've been talking about community. I've been talking about an obligation to be a humanitarian and to support your community, because it's not just about yourself and having the hot shit and all of that. It's about you being set for life, but it's also about you then using that overflow to bring equity to the world. And if we have more millionaires, more billionaires, more trillionaires, and beyond, and we make a collective effort to bring equity to the world, that would be monumental. Straight up. Thank you for the follow. It's that type of power in numbers that truly makes significant changes in the world. Because since everything is transactional, since money rules the world, when you get a group of people who have that much money, who are community oriented and humanitarian minded, there is nothing that group of people cannot accomplish. So the MPV, the multi-purpose vehicle, represents a person's life journey, destiny, or a means of moving from one phase of life to another. And some traditions use the analogy of a body as a temporary vehicle for the soul or spirit. Wow. So the act of driving or owning a car can represent one's level of control, decision-making ability, or sense of freedom in life. Never have I ever looked at cars like this before. A vehicle can symbolize something used to achieve a specific purpose, whether in a personal endeavor or spiritual calling. And this is what I'm talking about as far as being a humanitarian. When you have amassed a large amount of money and you have a big platform and a large influence, and you use that influence to benefit others, you can get car companies to give you vehicles so that you can give them to single parents. You can get house builders to build a community of tiny homes to help with the homeless population. That's why I said when you have a collective of people with a lot of money, there's nothing you can't do. And that's basically why all of this time there has been what I would consider like a caste system. So when you have a caste system and you have tiers of economic, levels, and the higher people go, the more they're pushing down the lower parts of humanity. That's basically a way to constantly keep people in an oppressive state. And it drives people to work multiple jobs. It drives people to be sick. It drives people to eat unhealthy foods. It drives people to, like I said, when you get sick, you are driving the Food and Drug Administration. You're driving all of the, surgeons and doctors and things like that. And then when you're in a constant state of just working, it neglects the family. It breaks down the family system. And then that feeds the school to prison pipeline. So like there's so many dynamics to why there's a benefit to having people suppressed in society. Because let me tell you something. If all of these people that were struggling and oppressed actually had the financial means to drive their vehicle wherever they chose to go, there would probably have already been a mass exodus out of this country. And, TikTok probably doesn't like me talking about this, but the bottom line is if there is a mass exodus from this country, who's going to be here to buy stuff? Who's going to be here to do all the work? I'm just going to leave it there. Down. I'm talking to the dog. I was also hearing you have experienced everything humanly possible in every lifetime you have lived. You have trained for lifetimes for this very moment. So I would venture to say that the Kia reference was all of the other lifetimes that built up to culminate to this particular lifetime where you get to now have the Rolls Royce. Not saying that every other lifetime was, just relegated to a Kia. And I'm not hating on Kia because, look, Kia, if you want to give me some money to help the community, I will gladly do that. I'm not trying to downplay the brand or anything like that. I'm just using it as a metaphor or an analogy. When you have to move through your lifetimes in like a more practical way because you actually have to do work. Because when I tell you that people who drive Rolls Royces, they're not working hard. Okay. Because if you have the ability to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a vehicle, you're at the stage in life where you can chill. When I have a Rolls Royce, it's going to have to come with a driver. It's going to have to. Why would I drive myself in a Rolls Royce? I mean, to me, in my mind, it just doesn't compute. But that's just me. I was hearing you are the heavyweight champion. So the significance of a heavyweight champion, it represents the metaphor of a person who demonstrates profound perseverance, self-discipline, and unshakable faith in the face of immense adversity. And I'm smiling because I've been talking about just that for the past several lives. Because I've talked about that being the difference between ascended master energy and just regular ass energy. And I mean, technically, there's no difference, but the difference is in how the person alchemizes energy. So, a heavyweight champion is going to take that energy and is going to alchemize it for their perseverance, self-discipline, faith. And the other energy is going to alchemize that energy of immense adversity into all of the lowest vibrational emotions: guilt, hate, jealousy, regret. And that is all life is what life is all about. How are you treating immense adversity? How are you utilizing your energy? Are you able to balance your energy? Are you able to keep a pure heart in the face of adversity? Are you able to still trust in the divine and keep moving forward in the face of adversity? Are you able to get it out the mud in immense adversity? Are you able to make something out of nothing? And I'm here to tell you that the people with the highest callings, the people with the biggest purposes in life are the ones who have to experience immense adversity for the longest period of time. And it's messed up. And that's why I started out the live saying it's lonely at the top. It can be lonely at the top. Because most people would give up halfway through. Can you imagine having to experience immense adversity for decades? Like, it's one thing to say, okay, I had a time period in my 20s, or I had a time period here or there, or maybe I had a rough childhood, but then things got better after that. But to have to experience adversity after adversity after adversity where it seems like it's not letting up off of you, and to be able to still maintain a pure heart where you're not projecting that pain onto other people, where you're not trying to harm others, where you're not in competition with others, when you're not jealous and trying to step on people's necks in order to get to where you need to go. That's the ultimate test. And people are failing that shit miserably on a daily basis. Hey, Tom. And so it's unfortunate to me because I set in my mind that no matter what I had to go through, I know that there is something better to this life. I was out here like Jay-Z, this can't be life. And even through immense adversity, I had my prayer closet. I had my vision boards. I wasn't complaining about working multiple jobs because instead of resenting my children, I said, I'm the one that decided to bring these children into this realm of existence. And it was literally my decision because at the end of the day, I'm the woman, it's my body, I'm carrying the child, it's my portal. We all know what the alternatives are. I'm not judging anybody for doing that because I've done it. But what I'm saying is that there are options. And I'm not about to sit here and say my children didn't ask to be here because 1000% every energy that comes into this realm of existence absolutely came here with a specific mission and purpose. And most definitely, I'm not going to say they asked to be here because some people had to reincarnate and they don't have an option. So there's people who can incarnate at will, and then there's people who don't have a choice necessarily. But however, either way it goes, whether you even if you don't have a choice, you gonna have to be here. So like that whole concept of your energy going out into the damn ethers and grabbing your spirit baby out of the ethers against their will is bullshit. Now, it's what the divine says go, but you're just the vehicle for this energy to come into this realm of existence. But either way, I made the decision to bring these children into this realm through my vessel. So therefore, I said I'm going to take care of these children with a coconut damn smile. Even though I was losing sleep, I wasn't eating properly, my body was messed up, I was mentally and emotionally exhausted. Did I have a short temper? Yes. Was I not as emotionally as available as I wanted to be for my children? Yes. But I was still the soccer mom. I was still at practices and at games. I was still supporting them. I still was making sure that my children were involved in extracurricular activities that benefited them. And so I may not have done everything correctly, but I did what I had to do based off of the experiences that I had with my childhood and growing up and what I had to give to my children at that point in time. I am a completely different person now than when I was as a parent. Do I still have stuff that I need to work on? Absolutely. But as far as like my mentality and the choices that I make and the decisions that I make, they are way more calculated now than being reckless in my teens and 20s. And I mean that should go without being said, but unfortunately there's 50 and 60-year-olds out here that are still operating like a damn teenager. So as far as overcoming adversity, a spiritual champion is someone who has been through thick and thin, holding their ground against conflict and enduring under stress without allowing circumstances to rule them. Their success is often measured by the obstacles they overcome. Exactly what I've been saying. Inner strength and resilience. The title of heavyweight champion signifies a strong spirit that can sustain an individual through physical pain, trouble, and significant challenges. This inner strength allows them to face fears and insecurities that might otherwise break their focus. Discipline and training. Just as a boxer undergoes rigorous training, a spiritual champion engages in consistent daily spiritual practices such as prayer, reading scripture, meditation, to develop character and build their spiritual muscles. This consistent discipline, often unseen by others, is the secret to their strength. Purpose and passion. Spiritual champions possess a burning desire and a clear purpose driven focus. Ow! The dog just is chewing on my hand. Spiritual champions possess a burning desire and a clear purpose driven focus on a higher calling. And that's what I just said. They're committed to their path and view their life as a serious contest, not a spectator sport. Hot damn. Humility and resilience on a higher power. Despite their strength, the spiritual significance emphasizes that one should rely on a higher power to fight their battles. In a religious context, figures like Jesus Christ are presented as the undisputed heavyweight champion who has triumphed over all spiritual battles. And believers can find victory through faith in that energy. And so Jesus was considered an ascended master. And so that's what I'm talking about, is that there is all the same energy, it's all source energy, but an ascended master takes those what some would consider immense adversity or insurmountable situations, and they build and they build and they build and they alchemize that energy for their power, and they dig deeper and they get closer to the divine, and they get closer and closer, and they trust themselves more and they trust the divine more, and they appreciate when the divine comes through for them. Because what happens is, when you're in a state of struggle, it's hard to see the glimmers of hope, if you will, or the things that you can really appreciate. Because the person that is struggling, typically their focus is on the struggle. Their focus is not on something better. And so when something better comes along, like, it could be just a matter of you've been struggling, and somebody says to you, hey, they're giving away boxes of food right up the street. Here's a flyer. Here's the address. Like, you may have just been contemplating how you were going to get food for your family, and then someone just randomly, not so randomly, hands you this flyer. Now, the person who is divinity minded, full of faith, will be like, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. I so appreciate it. Whereas another more prideful ass, low vibrational ass energy will take the flyer and then throw it down in the car and be like, I'm not going there. I'm not a charity case. My kids don't need free food. Like, the fuck? Like, sis, you are just making decisions between putting $5 of gas in the car and going to buy $5 worth of Vienna sausage from the damn Dollar Tree in order to feed your family tonight. Y'all was about to eat Vienna sausages and crackers. And I'm not hating on Vienna sausages, because we used to tear them shits up when I was damn little. With crackers and shit. Or right out the can. But it's like, come on. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable. Yes, it might feel like, degrading or whatever the case may be. But when you are future minded, you like, fuck all that. I'm gonna put my pride aside, because them kids deserve more than just a damn can of Vienna sausage. Because I'm too fucking prideful. That's a message for some damn body. Hell. And I was hearing Muhammad Ali, but I'm going to look up GOAT because I know he was considered the GOAT. So, in a spiritual context, the concept of the greatest of all time is often seen as a reflection of ultimate divine greatness, characterized by humility and selfless service rather than worldly power or prestige. The acronym is frequently used in religious discussions to refer to God or Jesus Christ. Within Christianity, Jesus is described as the actual greatest of all time. I never knew that. I really did. Unsurpassable greatness. He is considered unparalleled, having no one greater, nobody greater. Hey, Miss Wallace. Having no one greater before or after him. His greatness is foundational to faith and is the central theme of the belief. The perfect sacrifice. Jesus is seen as the perfect, sinless Lamb of God who conquers sin permanently through his sacrifice, something no other could do. Now, that's a damn lie. Because if there is no such thing as perfection, even when it comes to source energy, and I posted a video about this previously, the goal is balance. Everything in the universe is balanced. That doesn't equate to perfection. Because if all of us have source energy, if all of our avatars are being powered by this miraculous force, this ultimate intelligence, because that's what we are. If you look at just science, there are things about our bodies and functions of our systems that science can explain the process, but they cannot explain how it happens. For instance, the gestation period of a baby. They can explain how the egg is fertilized, how it multiplies and splits and does all of the things. They can show you all the different phases of gestation and what the baby looks like at the different phases and what things develop at different phases, but they can't explain how all of this miraculous stuff happens. They can't. There is no human explanation for this other than miracle. They can explain that your heart pumps blood to your body and oxygen to your brain and the rest of your body and stuff like that. They can explain how you breathe and all of that stuff. They can't explain the intelligence of all of these functions of the body. They cannot explain how your body knows how to heal itself. Anybody can tell you, a scientist can tell you that our bodies develop cancer on a daily basis. The difference is your body and your immune system strong enough to kill it off as it grows. So there's a lot of things that our body is bombarded with on a daily basis, but that's why we have a lymphatic system, and that's why we have a liver, and that's why we have kidneys, because all of these filters in the body are filtering all of the things that could be potentially harmful. If it just sits in our body, it filters all that stuff out. If you have excrement, feces, whatever you want to call it, built up in your body, it is going to poison your body. So there are so many inexplicable things that occur that we just poo-poo, like, oh, that's just life. Like, that's just how our body works. That's just science. Okay, like, really? Have you ever sat and thought about this shit? You know, like, the intelligence that it takes to come up with the concept of an airplane and propulsion, and to come up with all the systems that we have. That is divine intelligence. That's not through a human brain. The human brain is just the mechanism that downloads the information. You said, I have not thought about it until my health was in jeopardy. Exactly. Exactly. And that's how the medical industry comes up with medications, because they know how the body functions from a scientific perspective. And so all medications are doing is tricking the system. So, like, I was on the phone with customer service the other day, and the lady was like, I'm not finding your phone number. I'm not finding your email. She was like, but I am finding multiple accounts. She was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to trick the system so that we can merge the accounts and we'll go from there. That's all. Medication is just masking the problem and tricking the system, while your body, so that your body can try to catch up, so that you can do some other things in the meantime in order to help your body figure it out itself. And so I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, so, like, really, we have to really take time to appreciate the miraculous nature of just our body. And Spirit is saying, if we appreciate the miraculous nature of our body and how it functions, we would take better care of it. And I'm speaking to myself. There is no judgment here, because I haven't been to the gym in weeks. I still, every now and then, I still get me some daggone churches. I will still eat some candy every now and then and stuff like that. So I am speaking to myself. I'm not speaking from a place of perfection. And that kind of goes back to the whole Jesus concept. Jesus could not have been sinless and perfect and been in a human vessel. It just doesn't compute for me. Because we can all, because he said, you can do greater works. He said, ye are gods. And I'm just saying he, because, you know, like, the whole Bible and all those Christian concepts and everything is highly debatable. But if we're going to talk about the idea of Jesus and the concept of the Bible and Christianity and all that, because that has essentially dominated religion, Western religion, in other places I'm hearing, if we're gonna talk about that, we have to talk about the fact that source energy in a human vessel is not perfect. Because I've talked about before that my spirit team has been giving me information about the imperfection of source. And that source is perfectly balanced. But that does not mean perfection. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand, because and that's what I was talking about in another video as well. Traditional religion, I don't care how much they talk about you washed in the blood and all that stuff, there's still a lot of condemnation and a tremendous amount of pressure to be sinless. What would Jesus do? Be like Jesus. One of the reasons why I left traditional religion is because I was being placed under a lot of condemnation for having thoughts of intimacy. I'm trying to be careful of how I word things. But that is a natural part of our human existence. It's actually a big part of the human existence and experience. And to suppress the physical, I'm just going to say sexual part of us, is why we have so much undercover debauchery. It makes absolutely no sense to tell a priest or a nun that they cannot be married and they cannot have sex, but then you have all of these people assaulting children. And then what somebody told me, I don't know if this is absolutely true or not, but somebody was telling me that the history behind Catholicism and that concept was so that the church would not have to pay for the priest's family. If that is true, that is a travesty. So you gonna tell a grown-ass man that they cannot be married or have sex or have children because y'all don't want to pay for their, because I went to a church where they paid for the pastor's house and the pastor's living expenses and all of that stuff, and it was called a manse. Like the pastor basically inhabited the house that was on the church property, and like whoever was the pastor at the time lived there for free, and they still got their salary or whatever. If that's true, that's ludicrous. But regardless, sexual energy is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It is one of the most powerful manifestation forces. It is one of the most powerful creative forces. For there to be an act that creates a human being in a vessel, so you mean to tell me that the exact act that is powerful enough to bring an energy from the spirit realm into a human vessel, into the natural realm, that cannot be explained by science, y'all are going to suppress people from that act? That's crazy. That's crazy. And I'm not saying go out here and just give it to any and everybody and get yourself caught up in daggone love triangles and all that stuff. I mean, just like we say, drink responsibly, you use your genitals responsibly. But what I'm saying is that it should not be demonized. And that's why there's so many married women in the Christian church, especially, who can't even really truly be intimate with their husbands because it was beat into their head all through their childhood, all through their teens, into their 20s. You can't have sex. You can't think about it. You can't touch yourself. It's an abomination. It's sin. It's this. It's that. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of sexual misconduct running rampant in the church. Rampant. And that's where I was going with what I was saying. I was placed under a tremendous amount of condemnation as a single person to be, a born again virgin. Literally, that's what the terminology that my church that I was going to at the time was using. Born again virgin. But yet, from the top all the way down, it was this person sleeping with this person, this person. When I was in the church, I was hit on the most when I had a big ass wedding ring on my finger. I was so naive. I didn't know that there was a whole community of people who would cheat on their spouses with other married people because each party had more to lose. So it was better to cheat with somebody else's spouse because both of y'all have families to lose versus going and cheating with somebody who, was single and could mess up your household. I mean, it makes sense, but that's still crazy because there's whole episodes of Snap and Dateline where that exact concept backfires like hell. I watched a Dateline episode where it was two couples, their houses were back to back. And the husband of one couple and the wife of another couple were dealing with each other. And the wife of the other couple that was messing with the husband, she unalived that man's wife. And you got a whole husband at the house. Just get a damn divorce. The fuck? People are so concerned about the wrong damn thing. I was watching Dateline last night. It was a young couple that had just gotten married and the woman was pregnant. And it was similar to the whole Lacey Peterson situation. The woman was pregnant and the guy was messing with this other chick. And he wanted to get rid of the pregnant wife, because he was more concerned about child support when he got divorced. So now you in prison for life for committing unaliving, but it was more concerning to you that you were going to have to pay child support? Come on now. We got to think better. And on top of that, what they ended up finding out was that the wife had been messing with somebody at her job before she got married and into the marriage. So when you have a situation like that, and the guy that the wife was messing with was married. So when you have a situation like that where a single person who may be in a relationship but not married is messing with a married man, and then they get married in the midst, she basically only got married because her lover wasn't going to leave his wife. That's crazy. Like, I'm not trying to really judge people, because I know that there have been times when I have been, not thinking clearly. I'm not even going to hold y'all when it comes to romantic relationships. But Would I unalive somebody in order to get out of paying child support? Hell no. That's bananas. But hey, some people willing to take that chance. Thank you, Tom. So I was hearing all past lifetimes have been hardest so that you could get the worst out of the way. This lifetime is light work. So even if you've been through some hard times this lifetime, and this is not to diminish your pain or trauma or the things that you went through, but if you can imagine the worst of the worst human experiences and what that could possibly be like in comparison to what you experienced this lifetime, there's innumerable situations that could have occurred. But I was hearing that, like, in comparison to other lifetimes of the things that you've experienced, this lifetime is light work. There is no challenge that you have not successfully taken on and defeated, even if it resulted in your unaliving in that lifetime. It was all meant to be. And so, in order for your energy to have every human experience possible, and now we're talking about this planet, according to science. I was talking to Tom about this earlier. According to science, this planet has been in existence for roughly 500 million years, and that's an estimate. If you can imagine, if you are the type of energy that has been here since the beginning of time and has incarnated and incarnated and incarnated and incarnated just to build yourself up, to build up your resilience, to build up your endurance, to build up your muscles, to become the heavyweight champion. That is a long, long, long time. I'm going to see if I can get to my calculator. If I can get to my calculator, because I'm not even going to try to do that calculation in my head. So I'm going to take 500 million years. Is it? How many zeros in million? It's 9. Six. Okay, we're going to go with that. So we're going to take 500 million and we're going to divide that by, let's say you live to be 80, in an average of 80 in each lifetime. That is 6,250,000 lifetimes. Roughly. And I promise you, that's not an exaggeration when you talk about ancient souls who have been around since the beginning of time. That's when you start getting into star seed energy and all of those energies, because it was star seeds that seeded this planet. Sirius B was a major planet involved in seeding this planet, Lemuria, and all of that. So these energies could have potentially lived. And now, granted, back then there were people, energies were living 35,000 years. And that's where I talk about there's a difference between being in human form and a human vessel. Because in human form, where you can slow your energy down enough to be visible, that's not the same as a perishable vessel. So that's how energies could roam the earth and live and do things to develop the planet for 35,000 years or more. But on average, like in a human vessel, if you incarnated a lot of times in a human vessel at 80-year clips, you could have lived millions of times. And that is enough lifetimes in order to experience everything humanly possible. And if you are an earth angel energy, if you are ascended master energy, if you are a high-ranking spiritual being who incarnates to assist the collective in elevating their consciousness, then, those are the energies that have been here over and over and over again. Those are the energies who come here voluntarily. So yeah, that's what we're working with. That's what we dealing with. Hey, Pumpkin, you being a good girl? You being a good girl? Yeah. You letting Mama do her live? You being such a good girl. You like hearing about the spirit realm? Because you a star seed. Dogs are so amazing. Truly. Alright, so Spirit, what does the collective need to know for their highest and best good? And this song is called Turntables. She said, I'm kicking out the old regime, liberation, elevation, education. And I was just talking about that. She said the egg's about to hatch. There's a boomerang booming back. Dang, I'm in a rage. Ooh, sorry, baby. Dang. Sorry, boogie. Sorry, boogie. About to testify. I said the whole world about to testify. The song is now Show Me Your Soul. She said, do you know who you are, where you come from, and what you possess? You are much more than a star. There's power in your greatness. Don't you know you're a god and a goddess, king and a queen most high? You are a light. You are the one you've been chosen. Whole world is hoping. Now is the time. She said, in my mind, you're a seed in the essence of time. Spread your wings, find your purpose, and fly. Don't you forget, there's a reason you came here. Master ordained and divine. This is your day. Make this much more than a moment. Claim it and own it. Shine, baby, shine. I mean, this song sums up the live pretty much. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I was talking about how society puts us in the energy of having to work a lot, work multiple jobs, neglect who we are at our core, gives us the impression that we are not the king of the Knight of Pentacles, where we actually stand in our power and authority and have the ability to move forward and create wealth, and prevents us from feeling like we can pour out into the community and sharing our overflow with the community, from having to go through all of these hard times, all of this struggle, working multiple jobs, having to overcome immense obstacles. And that's all that I was talking about in the live, in the collective. Feeling heartbroken, having a lot to heal from, having a lot of people come against you. This is also having a lot of people come against you. Having to go through heartbreak in romantic relationships, being heartbroken by family members. being beat down by friends, family, society, making you feel like you can't achieve the American dream, that you can't have that Rolls Royce, that you always gonna be riding in that Kia. And this, like in the upright, this is him riding on a dark horse, is overcoming darkness, becoming victorious over your darkness, and getting to your gifts. Because Pentacles represents gifts, creativity, sowing seeds. And when you overcome that darkness, you have a lot of horsepower. The divine then carries you. You no longer, like I was talking about the difference between the Kia and the Rolls Royce. You're not gonna have a driver in a Kia, but it would make perfect sense to have a driver in a Rolls Royce. And the horse is a powerful spirit guide, where if you are being carried by a horse, you are now being carried by the divine. You're not having to do a lot of work. You're not having to get behind the wheel and drive through traffic and run the rat race and get to work at a certain time and clock in and clock out and stay late to get your work done. When you get to this point, when you're the Knight of Pentacles, you're not having to work hard no more. And that's what I was talking about. When you have the ability to buy yourself a Rolls Royce, you definitely have the ability to hire a driver to drive you around, so that you can be in the back of the car scrolling TikTok or posting your content or talking to your manager and your agent and cutting deals while you are being driven around the city. When you are being driven to that rooftop restaurant for brunch with your homegirls, you don't have to fight traffic to get there. You can sit back and chill. You can even take a nap, because you need your beauty rest, so that when you get there, you are refreshed and glowing. If necessary, if you're running late, you can just sit back there and do your makeup, or have your makeup artist do your makeup in the back of the car, or hair, or whatever. She said they feel away. Oh, wow. They gonna really feel away when you roll up in that Rolls Royce. And I said in the collective that your diligence, your resilience, you being goal oriented, you being driven and focused, you being faith filled, is bringing you new beginnings. New beginnings, new opportunities, new ideas, new creativity. The divine is in full support. When you have gotten it out the mud, but you have still maintained a pure heart, you have healed throughout all this. You have still endeavored to heal your heart. You have asked the divine and your spirit team and your higher self to assist you with healing your heart from all these swords, from all this projection, from being beat down by life, by being beat down by society, by being made to feel like you didn't have a high calling and a big purpose, to make you feel like you didn't have a reason to really be here. You may have even had time periods when you were just like, I would be better off unalived. even despite all of that, even despite having a broken heart and being stabbed in the heart multiple times, you still maintained a pure heart. This heart, typically, it would be a different color with all those sores in it. It's still fully red, bright, and vibrant, Spirit is saying. That's called maintaining a pure heart, even despite all of the battles and the challenges and the disappointments and the rejection. And Spirit said, all of those obstacles that you overcame were you planting your seeds, and it is time to harvest. These new beginnings, these new opportunities to create wealth, is you being rewarded for having faith that there was something better despite all of the bullshit. Because when you are planting seeds, you can't see the fruit of your labor right away. Depending upon what kind of seed it is, it may take a whole year to come up out of the ground. Some seeds, we're talking metaphorically now, some seeds could take decades for you to see the fruits of it. But Spirit is saying, it is harvest time. Job well done. And it's all because you sought balance instead of perfection, like I was talking about. Balance is way different from perfection. Like I was saying in the video I posted, you can have a Kundalini awakening where your crown chakra is wide open. You can have fully integrated your energy with your higher self. You can have fully integrated your energy with Source, who is the same as your higher self, basically. But you can still be imperfect. And like I said, that came from patience, long suffering, endurance, resilience, building your spiritual muscles. Because I have done readings for people where it has been an on point reading. Everything that I was telling the person was on point. And it was basically a future reading telling the person what was going to happen. And everything happened as I described. And that person would still be like, I didn't know this was going to happen. Come again. Like and that comes from a lack of faith, where you could get a whole ass reading or multiple readings that tells you specifically what's about to happen in your future. And when the shit happens, you still are like, I wasn't ready. It's a disconnect. It's a complete disconnect. And that Spirit is saying that's what's called being double-minded. Because if you can call yourself a spiritualist, if you can get up here and do readings, if you believe that the energy pushes the cards out, or that the divine downloads messages to you, whatever practice it is that you take on in these spiritual streets, if you can believe that, and you can believe in readings enough to pay for a reading, but then you just totally disregard the damn reading. Let me tell you something. When first of all, I watch readers for a while before I pay for a reading, because I want to see, are they encouraging their followers to do spell work, or are they encouraging their followers to be loving and a humanitarian and for the collective and having a positive attitude and all of those things? So you can tell the type of collective that a person has if they are constantly talking about the ops. Now, there's a difference. If someone has a big platform and they have 100 or more people or a lot of people in their live, there's going to be ops in the live and they're going to pick up on op energy. But it's not going to be just a straight up soap opera every time, or the whole time, because what happens is readers know that the soap opera type readings is what gets them ratings. So it's just like somebody that's trying to get ratings off of a television show to keep their show going. The more drama filled your damn live, and the more your live feeds into the delusion of people, the higher your ratings, the more viewers, the more followers. And I am not by any means poo-pooing on people who have a big following, because I follow some really amazing readers that I really enjoy. I think her name is Empress Toya is one of them. Calvin Awakens is one of them. Too Much Cynthia is one of them. Like, I've watched Too Much Cynthia for years. I'm fairly new to Toya, and I'm fairly new to Calvin Awakens. But I've watched these people. I watch the messages that they're giving, and I watch how they move, and also pay attention to their energy and all of that. Like, I've sat on here and I've watched very powerful readers do readings, and when different people come in and out of the live, they'll pick up on different energies, and they've picked up on my energy before. But I was picking up that this person was on some heavy stuff, like that daggone booger sugar. I drink tea with herbs. I'm not saying that there's just like everything is off limits, but when you're talking about like synthetic drugs to try to I've never done those things, so I don't know what the situation is about that. So again, I'm not trying to judge people, but I'm just saying that, like, if someone is tweaking, you're doing too much. And there have been times when I've been on here and I've been super tired and all of that, and I've looked at my live and I just be like, Lord, I hope nobody thinks that I'm on something or tweaking or something, because Jesus. But and there's instances like that, but if you read energy, you can tell what somebody has going on or whatever. And so all I'm saying is that we have to be really careful about who we're giving our energy to, especially if you're spending more time watching other people's lives or other people's videos than posting your own content or developing yourself as a spiritualist. That's a problem. There just needs to be balance in the situation. Thank you for the follow. And so if you have a balance, if you are balanced in what you're doing, then your intuition is going to be sharper, your clairs are going to be sharper, you're going to be more emotionally intelligent. If you can balance with all of the craziness that's going on in the world right now, if you're able to balance your emotions, you is a bad mama jamma. Because I'm very grounded. I have a lot of earth in my chart. I know who I am. I know that my spirit team protects me at all costs, but I still get anxiety. And I still have concerns. And I still go through the human experience. But ultimately, because I have that faith in my team that I know that when in divine timing and in divine order, everything is going to work out for me. Everything is going to look up for me. My life is going to look way different than it looks right this moment. That's what keeps me stable and grounded and able to genuinely support people and genuinely root for other people's success. I'm not out here trying to compete with anybody. I'm not out here trying to, like sitting around being jealous of other people. Like I've said before, if I don't have not one person in this live, I'm cool with that because I'm making moves in my purpose. I know who I am. I know what my purpose is. And I know that my readings are timeless. I know that my readings are going to be worth something one day. And what I have to do is I have to just keep recording and keep posting. I look at these lives as me creating content. It's a 2-for-1 because if I have a live that I chop up into smaller videos, then that's content. Then if I put my live on YouTube, that's more content. If I put my live on IG and Facebook, that's more content. Even like with Instagram, I can only put like a 20-minute clip of my live, but that will draw people to the full live on YouTube and so on and so forth. So whether I'm talking to 5 people, 1 person, 50 people, I am creating content for myself and I'm continuing to move forward. And like I said, if you're the type of energy that looks at that and gets defeated and is like, I'm just, I'm not gonna make it I'm not speaking this over my life or anybody's life who's watching. But for the people who have this attitude, like, I'm never gonna have enough to really save and be able to give to other people, and I'm never gonna do this, I'm never gonna do that. And look at my likes and look at my followers and look at my the number of people in my live and look at this and look at that and look at it. I see it and it does, I'm not gonna sit here and hold y'all. I do want to see more motion, but I'm patient enough and I trust in the divine enough to know that I can blow in a moment and it's going to look like overnight success, but it's really me being patient. Pentacles are slow moving energy. In order to cultivate this many pentacles, you have to be a patient motherfucker. Now, if you just want to stop here, this energy is like, oh, I got a new job. No, we going beyond the beginning. We going beyond surface level. And that's what ends up happening. People get into this competitive, backbiting, jealous energy, and they're trying so hard to work from their humanness that they miss the whole boat. Like all you, cause you so busy moving from your humanness. I don't want just human money. I want supernatural abundance. I want supernatural wealth. I want infinite, endless, supernatural coin. This bird is a representation of divine downloads, intuition. Your creativity is what develops your coin. So I'm not just here for a quick fix. I'm not gonna just pay. Like, I get approached constantly on Instagram. Pay us $50, we'll get you 50,000 followers. I'm good on that. Because I know people who have hundreds of thousands of followers and their engagement is looking like mine with a couple thousand people. I'm good. Because I know from back in the day, I was working with a creator on Facebook that had a decent following on Facebook and Instagram. And when people were coming to partner with her, they wanted to see her analytics. So they weren't just looking at surface level, because they know that people can buy likes, and that does not translate to actual people, actual bodies who will purchase products. These companies are looking for authentic following with true engagement and actual bodies of people who will see some advertisement on that person's page or whatever and make big purchases. They want to see the analytics, how much engagement you have, how many people are visiting your page per day, how many actual likes, comments, and that's why when you get monetized on TikTok, they have certain regulations, like it has to come across the For You page, they have to watch it a certain length of time, there has to be a certain amount of engagement. That's why people want you to click all the buttons and whatever. Even with the whole follow train movement and stuff like that, it can still get hairy, because I attempted to do that at one point, and I ended up following a bunch of trash. And I hate to say that, but if your content is just like you sitting in your car posing, and like, it's cool to take selfies every now and then. Like, I take video when I'm in the gym and stuff that's not super related. If you're looking at it from the outside in, it is related, because moving your body and exercising is a big part of being in a human vessel, and a big part of moving your energy and your chi and all of that. So it is related. So I do stuff like that. But I'm talking about, if I come across your videos and you're not posting anything of substance, I don't want to follow that. I'm definitely not engaging with that. And I end up unfollowing the person, because I'm like, there's nothing that I'm benefiting from this. Because I'm not going to hold y'all. I spend an ungodly amount of time on social media. However, I'm making the most of my time and experience. I'm watching the videos that are reprogramming my mind, that I resonate with, that is helping me to manifest, that is helping me to build my faith in myself, that is helping me to build my trust in myself. And we're not talking about just attaching myself to all these collectives that are creating a bunch of delusion, because that shit happens quite often as well. If you know that you're not doing the work necessary to move forward in your spiritual walk, but you attaching yourself to all of these collective messages that are saying you've done all this work, you've gotten it out the mud, you haven't been jealous of people, you haven't been competitive, but you out here doing harmful spell work on people the first opportunity you get. You out here talking trash about people who are being nice to you and are just being a genuine person to you. You know, like I have entertained people like that for way longer than I should, because I'm one of those people that I don't like giving up on people. I don't like to have to disconnect from people, but I'm just not one that's gonna sit here and allow people to like just completely disrespect my platform, gonna try to tell me like what I'm reading, the energy I'm reading, and how to interpret things. I've said this before and I'll say it again. My card reading may be quite cringy and I don't give a damn. This is my process. There's a lot of people. I stayed in the getting ready to get ready mode for decades. I'm not sitting there anymore. I'm not going to teach myself tarot behind closed doors for 3 years before I bring it to the public. I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to look cringy, and I'm going to use the little training wheel cards if I need to. This is my process. This is how the divine is working through me. There are times when the divine has me interpret a tarot card in a totally like outlandish manner, just to stretch me, to push me, to test me, because my spirit team has always said I don't need cards at all. But I just decided for myself that I wanted to challenge myself. And at times it can get cringy. It really can. But I've had people ask me questions about like why I decided to start reading cards, or like I had someone ask me, do you really want to read cards? Like is that something that you really want to do? And essentially they were telling me that I'm not reading cards correctly, or it looks bad, you know, the way that I'm my process or whatever to teach myself how to read. And I have done enough readings to date that are on point without cards, and then I just simply use cards to support what it is that I'm saying, that I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks of me and my process and how I read cards, because you only want to go by the traditional interpretation, or you know, there's a multitude of interpretations, and based on the deck that you're using, it can be like a totally different interpretation based on the imagery on the card. And so I'm not concerned about that. You can judge me, judge your mama. Don't judge me, judge your mama. Because I'm still gonna come here another day. And if it needs to look cringy until I can get it right, it's gonna look cringy. If people don't, if people look at me because and diminish my ability to read energy because they don't like my interpretation of a card and they don't want to mess with me after that, I am totally fine with that, because again, I am not reliant on worldly people, social media platforms, or anything like that for my divine inheritance and sustenance. Will these platforms be additional streams of income for me one day? 1000% yes. I am believing that I will be making billions of dollars of residual money in my sleep from every social media platform that I post to. That includes IG, Threads, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and any other damn platform that the divine has for me in the future. Thank you. Because let me tell y'all something. When somebody is a celebrity, when somebody is considered an expert reader, when somebody is considered a guru, or if somebody were to discover that the Christ look, I can't even talk. If somebody was to discover that source energy has incarnated in a human vessel, you want to tell me that my cringy card reading is going to be interpreted? I'm not saying it's me. I'm just saying if that person has a cringy video or card reading, you mean to tell me that when that person reaches that type of status, that people aren't just going to be accepting of what the fuck they got to offer? You can kiss my ass. Because if it was discovered tomorrow that I was the reincarnation of some ancient deity and it was actually provable, people would be like, oh my God, she interpreted the world card as this, or she interpreted the wheel of fortune as that, and we're gonna have to develop a new tarot interpretation book because this person is the reincarnation of such and such. Like, yeah, for entertainment purposes only. If that's what y'all like. If that, and I'm speaking hypothetically, I'm speaking metaphorically, I'm just saying that if someone, regardless of who it is, had meager beginnings, let's say this person only had just enough followers to go live, 1,000 followers, and you found out that this person carried source energy, Christ energy, the Christ, and what they were doing tarot in a different way from what the traditional people do it, it would be like, oh, everybody after that would be doing it wrong. I mean, I could take that person, whoever that person is, that person could take a card like this and be like, do you see this? This is representative of all of your birthdays, and this is a birthday cake, and people will be like, oh my God, I never thought about it like that. Ah. But before you knew who that person was from a spiritual perspective, and if I sat up here and interpreted the card like this, you would be like, she might need to go back and figure that out. Like, what is she doing? That's why the whole celebrity, I'm just gonna say it, dick riding, you know, celebrities and what's the term called? There is no need to be perfect. I don't know. He just said there's no need to be perfect. Live clocked. He said it's not a reality. I am self-nurturing. I am self-caring. He said, I am self-caring. I am self-loving. He said, there is no need to be perfect. Perfection is only an idea, not a reality. What the hell have I been saying? Because that's the most judgmental mofos out here, is the ones that don't have the balls to get on live like I'm doing and be cringe. They still people pleasing. They still overly concerned about how they look. They're overly concerned about how they're perceived. They're overly concerned about this. They're overly concerned about that. They're in a holding pattern of getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. And those be the ones that don't even come in my live. They will sit outside my live and be watching me and judging the fuck out of me. You hiding your gifts from the world because you scared to step out of your comfort zone, and you mad at me. You might want to be careful. Just all I'm saying is be careful how you talk about me. Because the light and the dark works on my behalf. And that's no cap. I say over and over again, use your intuition. Ask your spirit team who I am. I'm not saying that they're going to give you all the goods, because my spirit guides will cloak my energy in order to protect me. That's not, I posted a video earlier about cloaking energy. Like, you trying to cloak your energy from people you trying to do harm to, that doesn't compute. But when my spirit team, if they need to cloak my energy from somebody trying to do a reading on me or pull on my energy unethically, then they only gonna give that person, they either gonna give that person limited information as much as they want to give them, or they gonna throw the whole reading off, because a big part of my energy is the Fae. And they are some damn tricksters from way back. I promise you, they will even trick me sometimes. Like, I'll be reading the energy, and I'll be reading the energy correctly because they'll be giving me the energy, but they will be giving me certain energy to throw people off. I'm just a messenger. That's why you need to be extremely careful how much you attach yourself to collective messages. Do not dilute yourself about collective messages. And this is what people will do. People will get a paid reading where it's their energy that's being read, and it'll be on point. But then because they don't necessarily like the message, or they don't like the whole message, they'll attach themselves to a collective reading that and substitute the collective reading for the portion of their reading that they didn't want to hear. That is very, very dangerous. Because sometimes the Fae will give a collective message specifically to throw somebody off, and you will mess around and attach yourself to that energy and that reading, and then you'll be totally thrown off. You will have convinced yourself. You will get a personal reading that tells you that that dude or that female is not a good look. That person will give you all the information to let you know that that person ain't it, that that person is operating fully from their darkness. But then you go and attach yourself to a collective message to substitute because you really just want to be with this person. Just say that. Just say that you really want to be with the person, that you want to roll the dice and see if what it do. And you willing to take that chance. Do not go and attach yourself to no damn collective reading because you don't always know what's happening. That reader could have an op in their collective that the Fae is trying to get rid of. And you go attach yourself to that damn trickster reading. It doesn't mean that the reader can't read energy. It doesn't mean that the reader isn't reading properly. It just means that there's way more going on in the background than meets the eye. That's why it is imperative. If you are going, and this is what I tell people, I've turned people off at times because I tell people, if you're going to be getting readings, you need to be careful about who you're getting readings from. And you need to be at a place where your intuition, you can use your intuition enough to decipher the message. And don't, like, if you get them, like, say, so for instance, I have gotten readings where it would be like a future reading, and they told me the person is light skinned and the person is this and the person is that, and I'm, it's given the energy that I meet them at work or whatever the case may be. If I attach myself to all of those components and don't use my intuition, my discernment, and all of that in order to decipher if this is really the person, I have done this where I have thought that this was the person, that this was the one, and it has not been the one. Because I got a future reading that it was this, and this. And sometimes the universe, if you're focused on the components of that reading and you don't allow any room for flexibility, you can actually manifest what you want to see. But it may not be the full package. You could manifest this person, but in a dark package. So you want to manifest this person in a balance of masculine and feminine, a balance of light and dark package, but you have manifested this person in a completely dark package. And if you're not properly using your discernment, then you gonna mess around and be fully enthralled in what you think is a divine union, and it is a straight up karmic. So, like, people really be playing in these spiritual streets for real. You said, are people who read and got a lot going on in the background, like kids yelling and crying? Yeah, that too. And I thought you were getting ready to say just a lot going on in life. Like, that's a big problem too. If there is a reader, that's why I say that it is imperative for readers to be on a constant healing journey. Because I'm not saying that you have to be fully healed and fully arrived, because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as perfection. But if you're constantly on a journey, a healing journey, that's the goal. And that's what will lead you to balance. Because when you're imbalanced in your life and you're out here purporting to be a spiritualist, purporting to be a healer, but you're healing people through your trauma, it's a bad look. It's a no. And that's why we have to use discernment as well, because like there's just certain things that I will not do, because if I'm still struggling in a particular area, I'm just not going to hold myself out to be an advisor or healer in that manner. You know, like I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying that you have to be fully healed or fully arrived or whatever. But if you know that there is specific work that you need to do in an area, like if you need to work on your heart chakra, if you need to work on your throat chakra, if you need to work on your sacral or something like that, and you're trying to help people heal in those areas, don't do that. I allow spirit to give me the green light. And then what I also do is I ask for spirit to cover me in a manner where I am channeling pure spirit and not channeling energy through myself, through my issues. So when I say my prayer before I get on live, I am asking spirit to help me to be neutral. That means when I do an energy reading, I'm single as hell right now. Would I like to be in a relationship? Yes. But I'm not rushing it. I'm not, like I know how to stay in my lane with regard to stuff like that. But if I were to do a love reading from a place of desperation, from a place of desperately wanting to be in a relationship, from a place of like, I don't want to deliver this message to this person because it's a beautiful glowing message of them getting their wish fulfillment and their man is coming in 8 days, and I don't want to deliver this because it's not me and I don't want anybody getting ahead of me. If I was reading energy for people through that fucking low vibrational ass shit, I would be doing the collective and myself a complete disservice. It would be wrong of me to do that. And there are a lot of readers who are sitting up here doing that shit. They'll give you they'll give you enough information to like make it seem like the money you spent was worth it, but they'll hold a whole lot of information back. And I know that that's happened to me on multiple occasions. Because a lot of times I can read along with the person, but sometimes I have found out after the fact that this person held back a tremendous amount of information. And that's why, like I said, I have full intention to be as neutral as possible. The energy exchange, I've been told, and I know this for a fact, that I have a large angelic presence around me. So that means that anybody, when I do readings, there's a buffer between me and the person I'm reading for. So the people that I read for can rest assured that there is an angelic buffer between me and the person I'm reading for. That's for my protection and for their protection. That buffer filters my energy to them through angelic protection, and their energy is filtered to me through angelic protection, so that I can read the energy purely and clearly, but without the bullshit that comes along with their energy. I'm just the messenger. Because we all got some shit with us. And so, I'm dropping some dimes here. I'm basically giving y'all the language that you can use in your spiritual practice. In the process of you healing and transforming and changing your mind and going through an awakening and dealing with childhood trauma, okay? In the process of you healing, you can ask your spirit team to be a buffer between you and your sitter, and to protect you from your sitter's energy, and for them to protect your sitter from your energy, and just to make you a neutral party, and to make it a pure exchange. Straight download, no chaser, no embellishment, no adding to it, no subtracting from it. Straight up Queen of Swords energy. Clarity, conciseness. You can ask them to cover your chakras. You can ask them to be filters of your chakras. Because like Spirit is saying, when they download information into your crown chakra, it then filters down through your chakras. So whatever information you need to push out is coming out through your chakras. I'm glad you picking up what I'm putting down, Miss Wallace. But I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there. And this is important. This is Lord. Are y'all serious? Hey. Now y'all can play, but don't be biting each other and stuff. Are dogs supposed to play like this? Are you okay? Oh God. Are you okay? Are y'all Oh Lord. I wish y'all could see this. I really hope that y'all are just playing, because y'all kind of making me nervous. God. Just don't hurt each other, please. But anyway, so yeah. But I'm about to get off of here. I'm gonna go get my water time, and I will see y'all later. Thank you for hanging out, Miss Wallace. Thank you for hanging out, Tom, and Anybody else who's been watching, I appreciate you. All right, good night. Have a good week.